Howdy, everybody. I hope that you're all having a great day. Today we have something special. Today is going to be focused just on the meat. And the only thing that we're doing is meat. We're going to make a sauce as well. Because today I have some beef belly here that I got from Agridime. I finally broke down. I saw the ads on Facebook. I bought me a slab of it. And we're going to make some beef belly burnt ends today with a cherry chipotle barbecue sauce to finish them with. So stick with me, folks. We're gonna get started. I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna prepare the beef belly, what I'm gonna put on it. We got the smoker heating up, and then we're gonna have some cook. Okay, I realize I probably should have just said we're gonna get to cooking, not have some cook, because that just sounds silly. So what we got here is we got our beef belly. This is a choice beef belly. It's really nice. Came frozen, got it thawed. Already cutting up a piece of it, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut this into strips. About 1 inch to 2 inches wide, not huge, not too big, not too small. We're gonna make nice big chunks of beef belly here. Now, I've done pork belly burnt ends. Everybody loves them, but personally, I'm a beef guy. I am 100% a beef guy. I do not like, it's not that I don't like pork, I just like beef better. If I'm gonna have ribs, I want beef ribs. If I'm gonna have something that takes a long time to cook, I'd take a brisket or a chuck roast or a tri-tip over pulled pork any day. I do like them, but smoked meats, beef is where it's at. We're gonna get these cut into strips. Now, I've seen this done, I've seen people do this. They leave the belly whole, they smoke it, then they cut it up. To me, that's leaving a lot of real estate. Not getting smoke, not getting rub, not getting all the goodness that is the flavor that we're going to be adding to this. So, let's get this cut up. I probably could have used my bigger slicing knife and gone through this quicker, but we're also going to be cutting it into small chunks. Darn near took my finger off on that one. This knife is nice and sharp. This is from Dale Strong. Dale Strong is one of my favorite knives. We're through this. This is a short cook. This is going to be a short cook for me. I'll tell you what time and temp and how long we're going to do things for once we get outside. Let's cut these up. So now, what we're going to do is we're going to take and cut these into chunks. Perfect cube chunks. If you've done pork belly burnt ends, if you've seen pork belly burnt ends, that's kind of what we're mimicking here. And these are going to be absolutely delicious. I can tell already they got good layers of fat in there, plenty of meat. I mean, just look at this. This fat cap's a little bit bigger, but we got some meat on top. It's very standard, just like pork. So, dice these up. I've had this sitting out for a little bit, so it's starting to get a little air temperature warm. We'll get these. I'm running out of real estate here. Put these all over in this pan that I had the belly sitting in earlier. Now this one end's a little bit thinner. One end always seems to be just a little bit thinner. But this is kind of fluffed up nicely. To be honest, when I first opened, and these ones got small because I was being a little bit less uniform. When I got this, it was vacuum sealed and frozen, and I was a little bit disappointed because, you see this thick piece of beautiful beef on their advertisement, and then you get what seems thin. Well, once I thawed it out, and once I let it sit for a bit, it came back to shape and thickened itself back up again because it was stupid thin. And we got one piece here that's a lot of fat, but that'll just be a tasty treat as it renders down. Let's get this in here. We have a couple of pieces that are a lot more fat than meat, but those, honestly, that's like the the premium cut in my opinion, because this is going to taste amazing. That beef fat is going to taste so good when we get to dealing with it. And this piece here is going to be just a little bit wider. You know, we're not looking for perfect uniformity. Most of these are perfectly uniform, but, you know, it is what it is. So we got our beef belly all chopped up. What we're going to do now, I'm going to move this out of the way. What we're going to do now is we're going to get a little bit messy. I have... Let's turn this just a little bit. Now, you can use whatever you want to bind your rub. Personally, I'm sticking with the tried and true yellow mustard. Some people are going to use different things. I think mustard makes a great binder. I think it's good in flavor. I don't think it really gives any flavor. And then you're going to get your hands a little dirty. We're going to cover this. Make sure that these get good and coated with the mustard, so that way our rub sticks to them. Alright. Now that that's done, give me a second. I'm going to wash my hands off, get this mustard off, so that way I don't get my rub jar all dirty. Alright, today, now that we're done with that, now we got our mustard on there for binding our rub. We're going to be using Rufus Teague's steak rub. Now, this actually is a perfect rub for beef. It's great on steak, of course, but you know it's got the salt, it's got onion, garlic, ground coffee, which I absolutely love, in a beef rub. So we're going to liberally sprinkle this on to the meat. Toss them a bit. I'm not going to be like super fancy where I coat each individual piece. They'll get extra rub along the cook time, along as they cook, etc. We want to make sure that we try to coat them as best as we can. You know, get a good coating of rub on each piece, because this improves the amount of real estate we got to work with to get that good smoke flavor in there, to get the flavor of everything. Let's check these, see if I found, like this one needs a little bit more. This one. Then it's got salt, pepper, you know, all the good stuff in it. All the stuff that makes a great beef rub. Let's make sure. I think we got them all. So we've got them all pretty much covered. If I find any, I'll season them up a bit more. I'll add a bit more rub. Like I just saw some that didn't get it, so you know, let's hit them. There is no doubt that these are going to be well seasoned. So now what we're going to do, we're going to get the smoker up to temperature, get these on. I'll tell you what time and what temperature we're cooking at once we got them on the cooker. I will see you in a few minutes. Alrighty, we're back. We have the smoker at temperature. Today we're going to be cooking at 250. We're going to be using the Masterbuilt 1050, the gravity-fed charcoal system. We're gonna get everything. We're gonna get these on the cooker. We're gonna get them on the smoke for probably about 2 hours. So let's load these up. I'm gonna show you how I got the grill set up because I got it set up a little bit differently today. So as you can see, I have my top racks in today. I usually don't use these. Normally this would go right on the bottom. We'd have the pan underneath, but for today, we're doing things a little bit differently because what I am going to do is I'm going to load up and place these on here. So that way they drip down into the pan. They get plenty of smoke. And what we're going to do is when it comes time, when we're ready to start, or when we're ready to basically put these in a foil pan for, an hour or so, they will have rendered down into this pan some beautiful fat. We're going to put them in with that fat again and a little bit of something that I'll show you when we get to it. And that's how we're going to let these cook. Now we'll probably have to use that top rack too. That's fine. It ain't going to hurt to have them dripping down onto each other. We're using mesquite chunks along with our charcoal today. It's beef. You want a good strong flavored wood. I am personally a huge fan of mesquite. It is my favorite for beef, next to California red oak. So we'll get these on here. And then we're going to just cover it up. We're going to let it cook. And we'll come back probably in about an hour or so. We'll see how they're doing. And while they're cooking, we're going to make the barbecue sauce. I'm actually making my own sauce today. Normally, I have no shame. I use sauces I like. Today, I think that we're gonna change it up a little bit because of the fact that meat like this, I think will pair real well with the sweetness of cherries, the smokiness and spice of chipotles, and that's how we're gonna do it. So, into the smoke bath, we're gonna put a few more chunks of mesquite in here and let these cook. Alright, so it's been about an hour. We're gonna check these, see how they're doing, and we're gonna give them a little bit of spritz with some bourbon, because whiskey, beef, that's a great pairing. It's gonna give them a little bit of moisture as well, and add a little bit more flavor. So let's take a look. Alrighty, these are looking pretty good. We're gonna give them a little spritz with the whiskey here. This is just straight bourbon. And cover them back up. We're gonna let these go another hour at least. We'll check them in another hour, see how they're looking, see if their bark is starting to form, and we'll keep taking it from there. Alrighty, so we're back inside. It's time to make the sauce that's gonna go on these beef belly burnt ends later on in the cook. Today we're going to be making a cherry chipotle barbecue sauce. We're going to have some of the rub in there to season it, give a little bit of earthiness from the coffee. It's going to cover our salt, pepper, our onion. We've got fresh cherries. You can use frozen. And some lime juice. We've got some Worcestershire, some soy sauce, and we're going to add a little bit of bourbon to it too. So let's get making the sauce. Okay, so we're going to make our barbecue sauce. What we're going to start off with first is 1 cup of ketchup. And my 1 cup measure right now is filled with cherries, so I'm using the half cup one. So we're gonna have to do this twice. Make sure we got enough in there. A little extra ain't gonna hurt. Get that out into our pan, and same thing again, because again, I did not grab another 1 cup measure. Yeah, there we go. That'll be good enough. Now, 1 cup of ketchup. Then we're going to add in, first things first, I had the juicer. We're going to add the juice of a lime. Let me get the juicer and cut this in half, and I'll be right back. So if you do not have one of these, you should get one. This is a juicer. It is 4 limes. It is 4 lemons. It works amazingly well, and you get all the juice out of your fruit. And get this in here. There we go. All right, next we're going to add a teaspoon, and here I went and opened this new bottle. No, actually, excuse me, it's a tablespoon. We're going to add a tablespoon of Worcestershire, a tablespoon of the soy sauce that I did not set on this table, so I got to grab that. Be right back. Okay, our tablespoon of soy sauce. And a tablespoon of honey. And we've got, clover honey here, nothing special. Get that out. I'm gonna rinse this out real quick. Well, yeah, I'm gonna rinse it out real quick because we still need to add in our cup of cherries. We got a cup of cherries going in here. I'm gonna rinse out this spoon real quick. Now, the chipotle part, we got our chipotles and adobo. We're adding 1 pepper. We don't need to add a lot. This is meant to add some heat. We're not trying to burn anybody's, I made this once before. I added too much chipotle. And I regretted it. So we add 1 chipotle pepper. We're going to try here for a tablespoon of the adobo. That's close enough. We got our adobo in there. And then I'm going to mix all this up. Get it all nice and combined to start. And we're going to add, to start, we're going, I have to add one more thing. Hold on. I got to add the brown sugar that I want to add. So, need to rinse this one more time. Again, I am not a professional. I'm still getting used to having all of this set up. And what you're seeing here is not just, I'm cooking this for YouTube for the views. I'm cooking this because this is my dinner. It's my family's dinner, and it's for friends as well. So, tablespoon brown sugar. We're going to add just a touch. I'm not even measuring this out. If we need to, I don't really want this to be a lot. That's about all we're adding to bourbon. Because I want just a little bit of the flavor. I don't want it overpowering everything. Because we got a lot going on here. No two ways about it. The final thing that we're going to add is we're going to add a teaspoon of our rub to this mix. And already smell the goodness in this sauce. So what we're going to do is we're going to add in about a teaspoon. And again, we're using the Rufus Tea steak rub. We're going to add that into the sauce. Now that we've got it all combined, we're going to move it over. We're going to put it on the stove. We're going to bring it to a simmer. We're going to let it simmer for a while until the cherries soften up and become real soft. Everything combines flavor-wise. And then we're going to run it through a food processor. And that's how we're going to use it on our, make it into the full sauce. So let's get this on the stove and let's get it simmering. Alrighty, been another hour. Let's see how these are doing. Probably give them another spritz of with the whiskey, but we're gonna check on them. Our sauce has been simmering. I just took that off the heat. Gonna let that cool down before I run it through a food processor. The smell is amazing, tastes even better. So let's check these burnt ends. Would you look at that? Look at how nice these look. They're not getting super barky yet. We're probably gonna give them another hour or so. You'd see the drippings forming in the pan. we're gonna let these cook up a little bit, get a little bit darker, give them another spritz of whiskey. There's not gonna be a lot of drippings from the looks of things, which is fine. I'm not worried about that. But we're gonna get these nice and cooked. Give it probably another hour. Then we're gonna transfer them to the pan with a little bit more whiskey, the pan drippings that are coming off of them, and we'll check them in another hour. Alrighty, so we have everything in place. Been about another hour. These are about as good as they're gonna get. They didn't get as barky as I'd like, but we're gonna take a look. We're gonna transfer them to a pan. We're gonna take and cover them with some of the drippings that dripped off of them, and then we're going to let them cook for about another hour in the pan covered in foil. Add a little bit more whiskey for a little bit more flavor, and let's take a look. Now you can see these didn't get quite as barky. Oh, didn't mean to hit that. Sorry about that. These didn't get quite as barky as I would have liked. I would have liked a little bit more bark. I could probably let them go a little bit longer, but I think they'll be fine. Right now I want to get them all into our pan here. We'll move these back in here. We are not going to worry about it too much. These are going to be nice and tender. They're going to be tasty. They're just not going to be, they're not going to look black, which is fine. That ain't a big deal. Get this layer in here. Spray a bit of that whiskey in there. Well, we're using bourbon, whiskey. The ones on top got a little bit darker. These got a little bit more color to them. Got a little bit more of that bark going on. But I'm not too worried about that. I'm really not. We're gonna have the flavor. If I had done these at about 275, we probably would have rendered off more fat. Got them a little bit darker before we did this. But these are still going to be bites of goodness. They're still going to be cooked perfectly. And we'll get a little bit more whiskey on here. And next what we're going to do, I'm going to set that right there for a minute. Grab our pan. I just realized that they were not in the shot the whole time I was doing that. Now, as you can see, I added the juices from our big pan back to these. So I'm going to cover them. I'm going to put them back in the smoker, let them go for about an hour, and then we'll see how they look. Okay, so hour's up. These have been in the pan. They've been in there with their own fat, rendered down some more. We're gonna check them, see how they look. Then, if they're ready to go, we're gonna toss them with the sauce. Give them about half an hour or so more to let that sauce stick on them. Let's take a look. All right, these are looking really nice, but after testing one, I think they need a little bit more time. So we're gonna cover them again. Give them another hour on the smoker. Give them a chance to tenderize a little bit more because they taste good. They're edible, but they need to get a little bit softer. Okay, first of all, pardon the neighbors, they're having a party. Can't blame them. It's finally a nice day out here. We raised the temperature to 275. We let these cook for one more hour. They should be good to go. Let's check them. We're gonna sauce them. Gonna put them back on there for a little bit. Let that sauce caramelize, and then we're gonna eat. All right. So the first thing that we're gonna do is get these up and out of this fat. These have been rendered down in their own fat. And I'm going to say right now, the smell is just phenomenal. Now, these did not get the bark on them that I would have liked to have had. I moved them inside just so it's easier. We can do this transfer real quick. They did not get the bark that I would have liked. I think if I had been doing them at 275 the entire time, they would have barked up more and quicker. But they're nice and tender. They're super juicy. The fat is delicious. This is better than pork. This is better than pork belly by far, in my opinion. And we're going to take and get these all tossed with this barbecue sauce. And then when we put it back on the smoker, we're going to put it back on, you know, we're going to make things a little messy because we're going to put them back on one at a time. Let them really get some air and some heat circulating around them with that barbecue sauce to allow for better caramelization, etc. Alright, got them all here. I used my Ninja, and I used one of my smoothie makers to blend up this barbecue sauce because there was no need to, the food processor would have been a bit much. So we're going to pour this in here. Get as much as we can. There's more than enough here. It's made plenty. And we're just going to take and toss these in the sauce. Get them good and coated. Get them nice and sticky. Get that flavor on here. This barbecue sauce tastes amazing. It is absolutely phenomenal. It's perfect for beef. It's got a little bit of heat to it. It's got a lot of sweet. It's got just a little bit of notes of the bourbon, a little bit of the rub flavor, and it's going to work really well with this steak rub. So we've got these tossed. We're going to take this back outside, put these back on the smoker for probably about, 20 minutes to half an hour. Check them. They should be done. Then we're going to be ready to eat. We're going by hand with this. The sauce has been about 15 minutes. That sauce is nice and caramelized on these pieces of beef. Now again, they didn't get a lot of bark. They still got a lot of great flavor. I think if I was to do these again, because this is the first time I'm doing these, if I was to do these again, I probably would do them longer or at a higher temperature faster. So let's get these off and give one a try. Okay, so these came out pretty good. They look beautiful. We're gonna try them. Things that I would do differently next time: probably cook them at 275 the whole time, or let them go longer at 250. Probably use a different rub, not because this rub isn't good, not because it doesn't taste good, but because you might get a better bark out of a different rub. That's the only thing that I would say that I'd do differently. I won't even call it a complaint. So let's see how one of these tastes. Let's grab one that's got this beautiful piece of beef, that fat between it. Let's see how they are. That was a big bite. But what can I say? The flavor is stupendous. You get a bit of the rub, you get the cherry and chipotle from the barbecue sauce. These things are outstanding. 10 out of 10, I'll do them again. I'm going to probably hit my local butcher up first to see about getting a beef belly, see if he can get his hands on one for me. But this is absolutely fantastic. I highly recommend it. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do hit a like, drop a subscription if you'd like. Really appreciate it. We'll be doing more cooking videos, more barbecue videos, and we stream here on YouTube. So thank you all for being here. Hope you enjoyed. Have a wonderful day.